Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a video that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I've been requested to make this video for a very long time, and it's regarding anorexia. I've talked about briefly in some of my videos that I went through a stage of anorexia when I was very young and I was bullied heavily within the church. And even though I went through a stage of anorexia, I don't feel as if I'm really qualified to talk about the subject as a whole. And because of that, I am going to have my mom here on camera, who has been through quite a lot in her life. You have a medical degree, and she's a piano teacher, and she struggled with anorexia growing up when she was very, very young, to the point of where, well, I'll let her explain. So this is my mom. First time she's actually been like legitimately in a full-time video. So I'll let her share her story.
Well, thanks, Dan. I have to say that anorexia nervosa and bulimia is a very dangerous mental condition, and I think that it's something that really needs to be talked about. I started around age 14. I had low self-esteem. I came from a middle-class family, and my parents were hardworking, and yet there was no time for emotional love or physical love. And so I think from that probably stemmed my beginning of my low self-esteem. Can't blame it on that, but I think that was very significant in my life. But as I was saying, about 14, I was going through adolescence, and my body was changing, hormones raging, and I began to think of myself as being fat. My body image was, I'd look in the mirror, and even though I was 5'3" and 110 pounds, I saw myself as fat. And I was obsessed with constantly weighing myself and my body image. I just continually focused on that. And the more I focused on it, the more depressed I got. And eventually, as my parents had a lot of difficulties in their relationships with finances and things, and the fighting and stuff, I thought to myself, well, if I was just not a burden to them, that would be a good thing. And so I thought, well, the only thing in my life I really can control is my eating. And that if I ate less, then that wouldn't be a burden to them. And of course that's insanity now. As an adult I look at it, but at the moment I thought that was a great idea. So eventually what I started doing is I'd skip breakfast, I'd skip lunch, but we had dinner together as a family, so I couldn't get out of eating. So what I would do is gradually, I slowly decrease my food. So one day I thought I was so smart. I had 3 peas, a tablespoon of mashed potatoes, and a piece of meat, and a big glass of water. And I slowly would eat it, so they thought I was just eating, I wasn't done quickly. And this went on for about a year and a half. And one day I had a wake-up call. I woke up in the middle of the morning, and I went downstairs and I showed my dad. I had big blisters, burning blisters on my right thigh. And I thought, oh, what's wrong with me? And when I showed my dad, he was alarmed. He goes, "You look like a skeleton." And he was very angry. He goes, "What's wrong with you? You haven't been taking care of yourself." And I was kind of, I was a people pleaser type kid, and I wanted to make everybody happy all the time. And so when he was mad at me, I was upset. And he goes, "You have to promise me you're going to start taking better care of yourself and start eating." And after he yelled at me, I actually felt better, because it's like, at least I knew that he cared about me. And within another 6 months, I gradually started coming out of it. But during that time, let me tell you that my self-esteem, I did not like myself. The way I was created, I kept comparing myself with the other people, like they were prettier than me, smarter than me, and I felt like no one would ever love me, which of course was a lie, but at that time, this mental condition was affecting me physically. And one of the things about anorexia nervosa is you think you're delusional, in the sense that you're looking at yourself and you are thin, but you're seeing yourself as fat. And that's just not right. And it needs to be addressed. And I have to say, the thing that really started me thinking about myself is some of my struggles of self-esteem that I went through. And being able to look at the things that were good in my life and the things that I did have, and my talents and my abilities, rather than always looking at other people and comparing myself with other people. Because that was a very detrimental thing to me. And you can never find happiness in looking at others. You have to become happy with who you are. And in my life, I think, for me, I was angry at God. I was angry at the way He created me. I didn't like who I was. And so I had to deal with that. And as I said, the wake-up call when my dad told me I needed to start taking care of myself, I gradually began to correct that problem. And today I think if I could get advice to anybody about anorexia nervosa or bulimia, again, which is characterized by dieting and then binging and then throwing up, these are very damaging to your body. And I really believe that you need to seek help. It is a mental condition that can lead to physical death. Your body begins to emaciate away and your organs shut down, and eventually you will die. And life is too precious to not get help. And I recommend, I give you advice to go to a school counselor or a church counselor or something, a local counseling service, and get the help you need, because this is something that can affect your life forever. And there's back in the 60s when I was growing up, a great well-known singer, Karen Carpenter, that had this anorexia. We didn't even know what it was called back then. And she died. Her life was a beautiful woman, talented, singing, music, everything. And it's all gone because she didn't seek help. And so I encourage you today, if you have some of these problems and you even like to talk about it, I'd be more than happy just to hear your story and to encourage your heart and to get out of this mindset of this mental destruction that will destroy your life. And my email address is Snow White.
I'll link it. I'll link
okay.
it.
I won't give that, but myself.
It's linked down below in the description, her email address. If maybe you're a girl struggling with anorexia, I don't know. I have 60,000 people who watch me, so I know I have people of all different diversity and ethnicities and religions and faiths, and every person on this channel has their own story. And this is a topic that I don't really feel qualified to tackle, so that's why I brought my mom on camera. I would like to ask you a question, though, because I haven't asked you this. What do you think of the phrase where this goes for men and women, but it's you have to be thin in order to be pretty, or you have to have curves. In other words, you have to be a certain weight in order to be pretty. In other words, you know, there's this pressure that if you're not thin, you're not a real woman. If you're not curvy, you're not a real woman. What would you say to that?
I'd say, first of all, that is a misconception, and it's a lie of society. Because however you're shaped, thin and tall, curvy, whatever it is, you have to remember, you are beautiful. You are created beautiful the way you are. And there are so many things about you that are unique to you. And don't let anyone tell you that you are nothing when you have been created to be who you are. And just be able to know within yourself that society is detrimental. What society says, they're fickle. One day you can be pretty, the next day you can be ugly. I'll give you an example. One day, after having my third child, I was at a gas station.
That would be me!
And I was at a gas station, and I had some, I guess, sweatpants on, maybe a little tighter than they should have been, and I was pumping gas. And a bunch of guys went over and they were whistling at me and honking the horn, and, you know, for a 38-year-old woman, I thought, wow, maybe I'm not too old, right? Well, anyway, what happened, I went into Fred Meyer's, and I actually had Daniel with me, and he wanted a sample, and the lady says, well, you must ask your grandmother first. And I was like, a grandmother? I'm his
food sample, right?
A food sample. You have to ask your grandmother. Here I am, only 39 years old, I think I was, 39. And ask your grandmother. And I thought, boy, people are fickle. They change from day to day. That's the way society is. But know who you are, be thankful for who you are, and accept yourself as who you have been created to be, and run with it. And that's my advice.
Alright, thank you. This is my video that is on anorexia. I hope this video has helped someone, or maybe helped someone think a little bit differently about bulimia or anorexia. But my name is Mr. Repzion, also known as Daniel Sulzbach. Again, her email address is down below if you want to email her. And thank you guys for watching. Peace, the Rep out.